Hello and welcome back to Microsoft's Flight Simulator for the second part of my first impressions review. Is this a rushed release or a masterpiece? You can see one of the bugs that I was talking about very visible right there underneath the aircraft with the line between the tiles, but we're not going to be focusing on that today or the visuals, which is what we did in the last one. We are going to be focusing primarily on the physics here today. I'm going to be trying to stall the aircraft, both a power on and a power off stall, try to throw the aircraft around, see what it's like, and then land it at East Midlands Airport. So make sure you stay tuned for the second part of my first impressions and review, and also we'll be talking a little bit about the sounds and maybe even the mesh, because I did not do that in the last video and just seeing the hills here has reminded me. So there we go, that's our agenda for today. Stay tuned. So we're in the aircraft headed towards Trent, the Trent VOR, which is not too far from East Midlands Airport, where we are going to be landing today. You can see the cities out over to the right, left-hand side, and over to the right-hand side. I think that's Manchester, way out there in the distance in Liverpool. The sun looks awesome. One of the things, again, I'm going to compliment Microsoft Flight Simulator, the environment itself. The weather is really well done. The haze, the environmental effects are stunning, and I think that is what sets this apart from X-Plane immediately. That is what I think that's the biggest one that sets it apart. What I'm going to do is see if there's a safe place to do some stalls. So I'm going to stall the aircraft right here. I'm going to disable the autopilot and take control, and we will go for a power on stall. So I'm going to go maximum power. There we go. You can see the nose start to rise anyway. Going to keep the wings level, and I'm now going to pull up on the control stick on the yoke. 20 degrees of pitch, and I'm expecting to see the left wing stall first. That's what I'm expecting. It looks like the left wing has gone down. So there's a power on stall. So that's one. Okay, great. Let's build up some speed again. And now let's try a power off stall. So for the power off stall, I'm just going to try and keep my vertical speed at 0. So here we go, throttle off. There it is. And let's try and keep the vertical speed at 0. As best as I can. This is eerie quiet when there's no power and you're flying. This is a much more gentle stall. I would not expect one wing to stall before the other. And it most certainly has not. You can see there I'm just falling. Okay. Let's put the power back on. And there we go. Lovely. Let's bring the autopilot back in. Heading, nav I mean, and 3,000 feet. Perfect. That actually went really well. So flight characteristics, a Cessna is very simple, and it isn't very aggressive when it stalls. It's one of the reasons I prefer a Piper, is because the Piper is a little bit more aggressive. Vertical speed. There we go. Up to 3,000 feet. And we are back where we need to be. Okay. Next thing to have a look at, I think, is going to be this mesh. Why don't we have a look at the mesh before we start doing some turns, some harder turns? So for that, I'm going to go back to the external camera using this lovely interface at the top, which I do really like. And there you go. It's going to give us a good look at the mesh. And honestly, I think that the mesh, the vector, whatever it's called, vector terrain, whatever it is really, really well done. There is, I cannot help but say it again, there's one of the tile edges. They are very, very obvious, unfortunately. And what's really strange about that one is there's just a line of trees, can you see that? That just stops on the edge of that tile. That is strange, that is. Some of these, as I said, some of these are very obvious to see. Obviously something like that just looks... You take a look at that. Hey, it's just a... That's just terrain. That looks lovely, it really does. It's just... There are parts of it that do not, as we fly over the Peak District. Got some trails along there. So we're flying in. It does look very nice. Overall, it does look really, really nice. It's just, I think the environment is both a good thing and a bad thing here. Good thing because the sort of the mesh is brilliant. Better than anything I have... certainly better than anything I have ever seen. A mesh that detailed. So that is brilliant. The textures are brilliant as well. Again, better than anything I have ever seen. This is, I would say, even slightly better, or somewhat better than Orbex's True Sky in X-Plane 11. However, one thing that Orbex's True Sky has that this does not is it's color graded. Each tile is color graded, so they blend in together. They all are correct, as opposed to this, where it's just been taken straight out of Bing Maps. And there's another line. There you go, right there. And it just changes suddenly. See, that to me, for a second, I thought that was a ridge line. I honestly thought that was a... In fact, it might still be a ridgeline, I'm not sure now. See, I cannot tell anymore whether that's going off the side of a hill, or is that just a change in texture, a sudden change in texture. I think it might be a ridgeline, but there is also a sudden change in texture there. What about this side? Yeah, these colours are just a bit odd. They really are odd. It looks like the colour just changes over the hill. So I think it should be that colour over there, but it just... I'm not sure. I'm not sure why it does such a thing. One of the things I do like, you can see the turbulence as I'm going over the hillsides. And that is actually fairly realistic. So if I get behind the aircraft here, you can just see how the aircraft flies over the hillside. You'll see that there's an updraft, and sort of the shape of the hill and the currents, the eddy currents, are causing the aircraft to move around a bit, which that in and of itself is beautiful. I think that part of the physics has been done fantastically well. There it goes. You see that as we come off the end of the hill. And you'll notice it works on one wing as well. As we come off it, if we came off it perfectly perpendicular, you see it on both wings. But because it's one wing, the ground is closer to one wing and falls away from the other, or drops away from the other, you see that movement, and that is really well done. I'm still somewhat confused about some of the yaw that I've seen. And certainly this up-down motion, this constant up-down motion is not... I'm not 100% certain about that either. But overall, it is this is pretty good. In fact, no, it's not pretty good, it's really good. I'm still looking to answer that question though. Is it a masterpiece? And given the bugs that I've encountered, I'm not sure I can say it is a masterpiece. Right, let's go ahead and do some... Let me actually show you one other bug. So, I'm doing 110 knots. Nav is on, altitude is on. So at 3,000 feet, 110 knots. Watch this. I'm going to go and use active pause. So that's using the pause key. This is active pause. I'm now going to go in an external camera because I want to take a screenshot. As you would. Yeah, this is what someone would do. Okay, I want to take a screenshot because you cannot press the escape key for this, you see. There we go. I want that to be a screenshot. No problems. Now, I've tried this twice and there it goes. There's the third time. For those of you who have been watching from the start, you would be aware that that is the stall. That is the aircraft stalling, but we're in active pause. Surely, when I unpause this, I should just continue at the speed that I've been told. So look, I'm going to check the VFR map. Where are we? We're here. We're almost where we need to be. We're almost where we need to be. We're getting there. I'm going to unpause this now and let's see what happens. I'll get in the cockpit because I know what's going to happen. I've tried this twice now to see if I can reproduce it. Ready, steady, and you'll notice what the turn coordinator's already done. Notice that, notice that. Keep an eye out. That was not how I left it. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And there we go. Not particularly sure this is supposed to be happening. I'm going to try and let the aircraft settle itself. I have not changed the throttles, I have not changed my pitch, my hands are completely off the controls. Let's see what happens. Well, it seems to be struggling. It does seem to be quite significantly struggling. As you can see. So this is one of the biggest bugs, I think, and this is a really annoying one because I would be using active pause a lot because as far as I know there is no replay mode in Flight Simulator and I cannot seem to find a screenshot key either. Maybe that's one I'm sure I can find if there is one, but there is certainly no replay mode. And now look at this. I'm now pretty much in a permanent stall at this point, or very close to it. I am now happily doing 50 knots. Yep, 50 knots. And now slowly, very slowly accelerating back to where I was. All because I pressed active pause. I have no idea whatsoever. I just do not know why that is the case. And also, how could you not have tested that? Surely somebody would have looked at that and went, let me try that. Ooh, that's a bug. That's quite a severe bug. So there are bugs like that do crop up quite often. We are all but out of the Peak District at the moment, or almost out of the Peak District. You can see that is part of the Peak District out there, but we're on the edge. We're just skirting the edge. You can see some of the, I think that might be the River Derwent. One of those rivers is the River Derwent down there. Anyway, we're now continuing once again at 110 knots, as we would. But you can see some of the issues that now I have with this title. I have not tried too much on this, but I've already come across these issues. I have lots of aircraft to still try out. What does this do better than any other flight sim at the moment? The environment. Hands down, that is what it does better than any other flight sim. I think that P3D version 5 with the A2A Cessna is probably a better Cessna than this. I think X-Plane with True Earth is... Oops. Lost my head tracking for a second. I think X-Plane with True Earth from Orbex is almost as good as this. And then it has aircraft that are better than this. Now the difference is price point. You can get the entire world looking like that for, let's say you paid for the deluxe version, which is the middle one, about £80. X-Plane itself costs, I think, is it £35-40, something like that now. On top of that, if you want that, you can get Auto for XP, and then you have to get the meshes, the Ultra HD mesh. That takes some time. You can do it for free, but it will take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of storage space. This is taking 110 gigabytes of storage space and is streaming it in. Is streaming my data in for me, so it does not eat up my hard drive or solid state drive or whatever you want. Well, I suppose it's only hard drive and solid state drive. So there is the advantage for Flight Simulator. You can do this for free in X-Plane. Certainly. It's going to take you a long time and it's going to take a lot of space. What is the downside for this? It's buggy. It is, I would say it is as buggy as... No, it would be more buggy than X-Plane 11 when it came out. I think there are more bugs on this, and that is disappointing because they had such a long alpha and then they had such a short beta and then just released it. This game has been released this sim, should I say, has been released 2 or 3 months too early. And I wonder if that is the reason why it is not on Xbox at this present moment in time. Because I think this has been released a little too early. What I want to do now, before I continue talking about that, is I'm going to disable the autopilot and do some extreme flying. See what the aircraft is like in a, that's a 60-degree bank turn. Not bad. Not bad at all. That was not bad at all. Right, and let's do the other way. Clear. I know I'm looking for traffic where there is none. Go on, continue. Sounds wise, it's really good as well. You can just hear the sounds of the aircraft struggling there in this 60-degree bank turn. Let's do one more round on the 60 degrees. I have been in an aircraft doing this before. It's a lot more interesting than it seems, to be honest. Back into a 30 and roll out. Not terrible, not terrible. Autopilot goes on again in nav mode, and there we go, and leave it as it is. Should be able to grab the VOR, the inbound radial, once again quite easily. Okay, that was not too bad. The feeling of, again, maybe this is just a Cessna thing, really, but the feeling of the aircraft is quite steady and stable, which is I think that is a feature of a Cessna. Why it makes it such a good training aircraft is the feeling of it is really stable and calm, collected at all times. A Piper would be not quite as happy with what I had just done. It would be complaining just a little bit more. But not bad at all. Physics wise then, I do not have too much in the way of complaints. We'll find out on landing what we have. I still think the aircraft wobbles just a little bit too much, particularly in the yaw, so it's just the back of it. In fact, that's another one to try. Let's throw the rudder around a bit. What do we have? Ooh. That's fairly violent. Nice sounds to it though. It's okay. It's not too bad. Back on the autopilot, as you would. Not 2,000. In fact, yeah, let's descend now 2,500 at 300 foot per minute. There we go. Going for a descent. Just enjoying the scenery. I like the detail in the aircraft itself. They've taken a lot of, they've put a lot of effort in the materials. You can see there that it just, all of it looks very like you can reach out and touch it. I'm sure in VR this is going to look stunning. They have taken a lot of effort into getting these materials correct. And they've taken a lot of effort into getting the lighting correct as well. Can I pull that sun visor down? No. Why not? Why can I not pull that down? Surely that would have been something you did. Floodlights, not bad. Not bad at all. All works well. These systems seem to be okay. There's Trent, so we are close to Echo Golf November X-Ray, where we need to go. Not too far at all. So this is pretty much the end of the Peak District, where we are right now. The end of the Pennines. Now we go into just more rolling hills, and actually the way we're headed, it'll end up in flats, what I call the flatlands of Cambridgeshire and Norfolk and all of them. It is really flat there, the ground. But you have the rolling hills of, well, Derbyshire. You've got the Derbyshire Dales, which is part of the Peak District, the bottom part of it. I do like the water. That's one thing that I have not mentioned yet. The water is absolutely stunning in here. It really, really is. I wonder if there's going to be an updraft over water. Is there any way I can test this apart from there? I'm tempted to do this. Right. Nav heading select. That way, please. I want to see if there's an updraft on this water. So when you go over water, you've got a differential in the pressure. So sometimes you'll end up with updrafts over it, over lakes and something like this. Not over a river, that would not be enough, but over a lake like this, it might just be enough. There we go. 070 should do the trick for us. I am trying to thoroughly test this. I am genuinely trying to thoroughly test this, and then get that stabilized. And I'm just going to switch that off. Let's see what happens as we go over the water. Does it push us up? It has not. No, it has not. Now that might just be because there could be various reasons for that. It might just be the fact that we were not we were not trimmed correctly to experience that, or this aircraft does not pick up updrafts as well as maybe others. So there are various reasons. I'm not going to say, oh, it's not in the sim. Given the physics that they've put in, or the way the physics feel over the hills, I think they probably have. And I know that in the old Flight Simulator 10, we had that as well. In fact, it would actually mark it out for you, saying that these are areas of updraft. Right. Not too long to go to our destination. I'm happily plodding along at about 100 knots. I'll increase the speed of that just a bit. And you can see there is our destination, I think. I would like to be able to have that pop out, but I guess the best we have is this right now. Okay, not too far away at all, maybe 10 minutes. At this speed, 10-15 minutes tops. That looks like... Is that a city out there? It's a town. Not sure which town. Should be seeing Derby ahead of us, and both Derby and Nottingham. Of course, the sun is slowly going down. That looks like... Is that Nottingham there? It's potentially, or that could be Nottingham, or that could be Derby. And then, in fact, yes, if that is Derby, then that is East Midlands Airport. Out there, it's fine. We will be absolutely fine here. What I now want to do is get the ILS for this, so it's 109.5 if I remember correctly. And if it isn't, I'm going to check that right now. Let's see. It is 109.35. Well done, brain. 109.5 I think is London Heathrow, runway 27. 27 left and 27 right and 09 left, I think. Okay, so you can see that we do have the ILS up. I want to see if it moves through, if it bounces through, because it should, in theory, bounce through the localizer, giving us a false reading at some point. And you can see that the glide slope is above us at this point, which is exactly what I want. I want to join it at 2,500 feet and then fly it down. Not really flown a Cessna, landed a Cessna in a long time. I did the Cessna 152. There's another line, texture line there. Did the Cessna 152 in X-Plane 11, the Just Flight one, which was lovely. Really great bit of kit to fly. How far away am I? Not far at all. Let's do another quick external camera so that we can have a look at what we have as the sun starts going down slowly. Clouds seem to look okay when you looking at them here. It seems to be from the inside that the clouds are problematic. From the outside, they are alright. I really like the sun shining through that though. That is really well done. So as I bring this into land, what are my thoughts so far? Remember, I am going to be doing some more videos on this, but what are my thoughts so far from what I have seen? Do I like this? Do I not? This is Derby, I think. Yeah, this looks like Derby. Do I like this? Do I not? Well, I do like this. I do like this quite a lot. What I do not like are the bugs. I think there are a lot of bugs. Some, thankfully, I've only shown you one of the physics bugs, and we've seen some of the texture issues, which perhaps are not bugs but they're issues. But there are other bugs that I have experienced, thankfully not on this video, that have either crashed the game or caused it to be incredibly strange. Let's try the approach mode on this. I wonder if the approach mode will work. I'm going to land runway 09. We are coming up on the glide slope. We're definitely coming up on the glide slope here. Interesting. I will now bring ourselves in to a controlled descent. Of 300 foot per minute. Not exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be lined up with the runway first. There it is, there's the airport. Okay, no, in fact, I'm going to do this properly. Let's do this properly. Base leg and all that kind of stuff. Bring ourselves into, I'll say 2,000 feet. Go on, descend to 2,000. $2,000 there. Bring it down. And we should be able to line up with, there's the airport. And we should be flying straight over Donington Park, which is a racetrack. That's another one I want to see. I want to see what that does. Oh, some stutters. Oh, that was a major stutter. I've had a few of those as well. That reminds me, I've had one where the game's just frozen for, well, there it goes again. For about 30 to 40 seconds. And I'm going to slow the aircraft down. Mixture up, full. Fuel pump can go on. I think I should turn in, realistically, but it does not tell me to turn in. I might be wrong, but no, there it goes. Localizer's alive. I should have joined this bang on perfectly, I am hoping. And then all I need to do is drop the autopilot, fly it in myself. How far away am I from this airport? Not too far. But let's go ahead and... glide slope is below us now, I know that. Not a problem though. I'm trying to bring it in stable at 80 knots. You can see the aircraft is shaking about quite a bit now, and I would not expect this on an approach like this. I would certainly not expect it to be doing this. On, reduce the throttle, keep pushing it down, keep pushing it down. Now I'm having to reduce the throttle quite significantly. There's Donington Park ahead of us, trying to keep it on the localizer. Interesting. I'm not sure about the physics on this aircraft as I'm bringing the aircraft down. I'm really not entirely sure about the physics on this. So, things that I like. Graphically, it looks awesome. Inside the aircraft, it looks awesome. What I do not like, the patchwork of tiles. I think they could have done a better job on that. Weather, really like that. Clouds, small problems with the edges of the clouds. I'm not sure what it is with that, really. Other things that I like and do not like. I think the environment is stunning. The trees, the buildings, great. So some of the buildings are not perfectly accurate. I know about London's issues, but I'm talking about just everyday buildings, just your general buildings across the cities. I know that some of them are bigger than they should be, or a few of them are missing, and I do mean a few. In an entire city, you might see 100 buildings missing. But I cannot really fault them for that. Hey, look, it's Donington Park. Lovely. I cannot really fault them for that at all. It's a decent. It's an AI doing it. I've forgotten the name of the AI. Is that puppy indicator changing colour slowly? It is. Oh, well done. I like the fact that they've done that. I do like the fact that they've done that. This aircraft is not one that keeps speed well. This feels strange. Bringing the aircraft down here does feel strange. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so landing physics or bringing the aircraft down, there's something that isn't quite right, but we are bringing the aircraft down nicely. It is roughly on the centre line. Okay, it's not on the centre line anymore. I'm going to try and land it as best as I can. Let's see what this landing is like. There we go, we are down. Obviously it's nice to have the runways that are not perfectly straight. They are bumpy, as you would expect. Strange effect there with the textures as well. But we are down at East Midlands Airport, and again, sounds are great. Listen to those sounds. That's the rudder. That is really, really nice. That's the cargo terminal. I'm going to go over here to the passenger terminal. There is general. In fact, let's go straight here. There is general aviation down here. I just do not know of Cessna's coming in. You see some aircraft parked there. Airbus. Yeah, down here is general aviation, I think. Oh no, this is cargo still. Where's general aviation? I know it's here somewhere. Where's that going to be? Swing it around. Yeah, this is back of cargo. That's not where I wanted to. Yeah, it's back of cargo. That is not where I wanted to be. I'll park it up somewhere else. So yes, I do like those bits. I think physics-wise it's really good, but I think maybe the aircraft are not quite as up to scratch to maybe what I'm used to. I'm probably used to a lot higher quality of aircraft, and that is probably why I'm finding these issues. And then when we have the third-party suppliers bring the aircraft in, Just Flight, A2A, what's the other one? Coronado? Once we have those come in, what's with the little smoke effects at the bottom? Okay. Once we have those come in, I'm sure it is going to look, or they are going to be absolutely fantastic. So we do have that to look forward to. Sounds wise, sounds is the one department that I think I have no complaints about. It's really, really, really nice. There we go. Perfect. Parking brake on. Let's switch. I'll switch the avionics master off like that, and let's go ahead and slowly shut the engine off. There we go. That's off. There we go. Perfect. Or close enough. Anything else that I have to mention on this? What do I feel like? Is this a masterpiece or is it a rushed release? With the bugs that I've seen, I think this is a rushed release. Can it be a masterpiece? Yes, it most certainly can. Just looking at that picture right in front, look at that screen. You know for a fact that this can be a masterpiece, but at the moment, I think it was released 2 or 3 months too early. there are a number of bugs that really need to be sorted out. A lot of people I've noticed have been complaining about different types of bugs. They just needed to extend the beta test for 2 months. That's all they really needed to do. This is a rushed release, and it is a shame. But having said that, this is a good foundation for them to improve upon, and within 6 months to a year, I think we will have the best simulator we have ever had on our hands. So I'm going to say come back in 6 months to a year with this, and I'm going to be creating more videos, but 6 months to a year is when I'm actually going to be looking to judge it once again and say, right, what is the state of it now? Somebody's going to have to remind me of that. What I'm going to do to end this is put in some stormy weather so you guys can see the storms. There you go, here's some stormy weather. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I'm going to be going ahead and looking at night flying. I'm going to be looking at one of their proper hand-built cities, as it were. So I'm going to be looking at the New York City and JFK Airport. I'm going to then be doing a number of comparison videos. So I'm going to be comparing FSX, I might do FSX, Flight Simulator with X-Plane 11, both default to default, add-ons, things like that, and seeing where one is good and the other is bad, or where both are good or where both are bad. So I will be having a look at that. I am very excited that Flight Simulator is upon us. I'm disappointed that the ground is not wet. Is it even raining? I cannot see the rain. Is that another bug? Okay, apparently this is stormy weather. Is that maximum rain? That is maximum rain. Right, hold on. Wow, that number's not right. Let's try 100. No, 10. That is the maximum rain. Again, cannot complain on sounds. Snow depth. Okay, so they have snow, but they have no rain effects on the ground. There we go, that's something else to have a look at. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to be doing a number of those videos, but for now, if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at www.patreon.com/ecgadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really, really help me. And also, oh, hang on a minute. Now there's rain effects on the ground. Now it's wet. I will take that back. I apologise. I take that back. The ground now looks wet. Yes, it does. Okay, I take that completely. I take that back. I can see the rain. The ground is wet. There you go. As I said, you can support me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/ecgadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. And if you want to learn how to fly aircraft with a lot of detail, advanced flight tutorials, check out the channel. And also, if you do support me on Patreon, select the pilot officer, the junior academy officer, I believe is the tier for that, for some access to some flight sim tutorials and additional PDF documentation. You can also find me on social media at ecgadgetlp for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me, Asobo Studios. I do apologise for not giving the rain a chance to accumulate, and I will see you next time in Flight Simulator 2020 or Flight Simulator 11, depending on how you see it.